So inside this big package, we are hopefully going to find our first performance upgrade. It is from Flyin Miata, so let's just go ahead and unbox and see what we got. Man, I wish there were pizzas that came in boxes this size, but what we're looking at, it's back here. Oh, garbage. Ooh, also garbage. These cracked. These things. Some new anti-sway bars from Flyin Miata. That'll help us roll less out on the track, which means we keep our tires on the ground more, which means we get more control, which means we get to go faster. So look at these things. You do not want to get hit by one of these. Now the first step for any self-respecting mechanic should be to just completely disregard the instructions. Either the new parts are going to work or they're not. So I'm going to go through the steps here to help us put these new bars on this old car. Just kidding, we totally need the instructions. I don't know what I'm doing without it. Alright, let's see here. Oh, please don't be hurt. Whew. Nope. Still good. Step for us to get access to them is to take off our wheels. So break the lug nuts loose while the tire is still on the ground. If not, it's going to rotate while you're trying to loosen the bolts themselves. Do this on both sides. Now step 2 is to actually jack up the car, so position your jack correctly. We use the frame rails from Flyin Miata, which are now our jacking points, so we'll work with that. But before you actually go ahead and lift the car up the ground, make sure you have some chocks on your back wheels. That will make sure your car doesn't actually slide backwards and off the jack and doing damage to yourself or the car itself. So at this point our car is jacked up off of the ground. Make sure it's about level height so there's not more stress on one of the jack stands than the other one, and they're located about the same distance to the front of the car. Now, personal preference, I like to leave the jack under there. It's not actually being supported on the jack, but it is very, very close to being engaged. Just another safety thing since you are working under a car that could crush you at any moment. Alright, so I took the wheels off, and this is our first view of the actual sway bar itself. It runs to right here to the sway bar end link, so we'll have to undo this bolt right here. And then it does disappear back underneath the engine, and right now it's covered by this splash guard. So we're going to have to remove the splash guard. There's about 6 or so combination of bolts and nuts that are keeping it on. So he's got to take those off real quick. They'll drop out, and then I'll show you the sway bar in its full glory. I was wrong. There are definitely more than 6 bolts and nuts combined, and I don't have the air guide in, so you're going to have more pieces to remove. Otherwise, if we take a look under here, pardon me. Okay, now you can see the underbody of the engine and our actual sway bar. So as you said before, it starts over here. So here's the wheel hub for reference. Here's our end link. It runs under here, and then if I just move the camera a little bit, it continues on. It is this large metal beam that goes side to side, held in by these brackets, which are disgusting and covered in only God knows what. And then it runs to the other side again, right over here. So it's just mirrored. It's a big piece. It stops the car from kind of folding in on itself like a taco. So we got to remove everything. So we'll go through the steps right now. So our first move is to break this bolt loose. Now for me, because this isn't a stock one, it's got a 17 millimeter in the front, and the back side we have a 14 millimeter. So let's break them loose, do it on both sides, and then we can go from there. Alright, so that separated a lot easier than I thought it would. I couldn't tell you why, but recommend pushing it in a little bit and then grabbing the nut that came back from the other side. So this is what fell off on the other side, right there, and just threading it on a couple. So do that, keep them together so you're not looking for them later. Now just go ahead and repeat on the other side. Alright, so both sides have now been removed, so we just have to go under and unbolt the actual brackets that are supporting the bar from underneath. So I'll show you what they look like. Old man bones. Alright, sway bar. So we undo this bracket right here. There's 2 bolts. And then, like I said, these things are pretty symmetrical. So you go over here and you're going to do those as well. And after that, sway bar is pretty much good to fall down. And we're going to move it out through whatever side's open for us. Old bar is out. Only hit myself in the head 1 time. New record. Hard head anyways, no biggie. And now it's time to put in our new, tougher Flyin Miata sway bar. The install is the complete reverse of the uninstallation. Only thing, just make sure when you are tightening your end links, do that with the wheels on the ground or on some sort of ramp, because the bar needs to be preloaded to work correctly. So I was wrong. Flyin Miata says attach the end links just ever so gently first, so I threw a bolt on over there, and then I didn't put the brackets on up top yet. They recommend, again, putting the end links on, just kind of holding the bar in place, and then we're about to put the end links on. Now make sure your bar is centered so that it's about even. You can see with mine it is definitely not, so it's got to go more to the left. And so we'll work on that next, and then once that's good, I'll put the brackets on. Make sure you put some grease on them so your sway bar doesn't squeal the whole time like a beaten pig, and then you're good to start to tighten stuff up. So here's where we're at. Got that snugged up. Let's get it up here. That one's also snugged up. Hand tighten plus a little bit. Hand tighten plus a little bit. So what we have to do is put the wheels back on and put this on some ramps so then we can tighten everything down to spec. Besides that, it's taking me about 45 minutes to shoot this entire video. So realistically, the front sway bar on and off, I'd say probably about half an hour if you know what you're doing. At this point, we have our wheels up on some two pieces of wood here and here, and our more or less drip tray is also installed. So what you have to do is go back in and tighten these things down to spec, which is about 40 pounds per foot. So I'm gonna go do that, and then we are ready to go into the back.